This is the story of Gabriel Dumont, buffalo hunter, diplomat, humanitarian, and Métis leader. Gabriel was born on a farm in the Red River settlement in December 1837. As a small baby, Gabriel would have been carried on his mother's back on a cradleboard, which was probably made by his father. In 1840, the Dumonts and many other Métis families traveled west by Red River cart. When crossing a river, the wheels were removed and the carts were used as rafts. On the way, they took part in one of the largest buffalo hunts ever held by the Red River Métis. Buffalo meat supplied food and pemmican for trading. Buffalo hides were used for coats and blankets. The Dumonts settled near Fort Pitt. Here Gabriel's father brought supplies from the trading post and traded with the Indians. Like other Métis and Indian children, Gabriel tracked and studied the animals to learn their ways. In time, he became a successful hunter. His skill at imitating animal calls was so great that one day he walked into camp completely covered with birds which he had called to him. Gabriel's playmates were Indian and Métis children of nearby families. By the age of 10, as well as his native French, he could speak 6 Indian languages. In 1848, the Dumonts returned to the Red River area. On this trip, Gabriel heard strange noises one night and told the leader that the camp was being attacked. The fires were put out and defenses set up. The strange noises were found to be a herd of buffalo passing by. After some laughter and teasing, the fires were rebuilt. But for his quick thinking and bravery, Gabriel's uncle gave him a rifle which he named La Petite, which means little one. When he was 13, Gabriel took part in a buffalo hunt in the United States. At the Grand Coteau, a small group of Métis were surrounded by many Dakota. The Métis quickly pulled their carts into a circle and dug trenches. They defended their camp and drove off the Dakota. Gabriel continued to hunt and trap and to trade furs. He became known across the prairies for his skills. Later, he became the leader of the buffalo hunt. In 1858, Gabriel married Madeline Wilkie, a school teacher. They continued to go to buffalo hunts and trapped and traded furs. Madeline took the furs and pemmican to the Red River settlement and sold them to the Hudson Bay Company, while Gabriel continued to hunt. In 1862, Gabriel helped negotiate peace among the Métis, Cree, and Dakota, which put an end to years of fighting. Although known for his bravery and hunting skills, Gabriel was also thoughtful of others. He made sure that those who needed food received it, and that everyone had enough wood for the winter. Gabriel and Madeline had no children of their own, so they shared their love and knowledge with the many children in the community. In the mid-1860s, Gabriel, Madeline, and many other Métis families returned to the Saskatchewan district and settled near Fort Carleton, where Gabriel again met his friends from his childhood, Chief Big Bear and Gentleman Joe Mackay, a Hudson Bay Company scout. In 1870, the Red River Métis were in danger of losing their lands and home to the settlers who were moving into the area. Their leader, Louis Riel, was trying to find a solution to the problem. When Gabriel heard this, he was quick to offer his help. However, his help was not needed because the solution had been reached, which resulted in the creation of the province of Manitoba. Meanwhile, in the Saskatchewan district, farming began to replace buffalo hunting. The Métis decided to form a permanent community, which they call Saint Laurent. In 1873, the people of Saint Laurent met to form a government and make laws. They elected Gabriel as their president. As president in 1875, Gabriel arrested a group of hunters who violated the laws of the hunt, thereby threatening the well-being of the community. For this, Gabriel was accused of taking the law into his own hands. The Northwest Mounted Police came to Saint Laurent and Gabriel was arrested, tried, and given a fine. With the buffalo herds nearly all gone, farming became the main way of making a living. Although the Métis lived on the land, they did not own it. So they sent petitions to the government in Ottawa, asking for the ownership of their lands. In 1880, Gabriel started his own business. He operated a ferry across the Saskatchewan River at a spot which later became known as Gabriel's Crossing. Time went by, and the petitions were not answered. In 1884, Gabriel and some Métis went to see Lou Riel in Montana. They asked Riel to join them in their struggle for their land rights. Riel returned with them to help organize the people. They asked Lawrence Clark, who worked for the Hudson Bay Company and was a longtime friend of the Métis, to speak to the Canadian government in Ottawa on the behalf of the Métis. When Clark returned on March 18, 1885, he told Gabriel and the others that the petition would be answered with bullets. The Métis prepared to defend their land, and Gabriel was chosen as military leader. As Clark predicted, the government of Canada sent soldiers to settle the problem to which the Métis had tried to find a peaceful solution, and the so-called Northwest Rebellion had begun. Although the Métis were outnumbered, under Gabriel's leadership they won the Battle of Duck Lake. After the Battle of Fish Creek, which neither side won, the Métis were defeated at Batoche. After the Battle of Batoche, Louis Riel gave himself up. He was found guilty of treason and hanged in Regina. Gabriel fled to the United States to live in exile. Madeleine traveled south to be with Gabriel, but on the journey she became ill and died. For a short time, Gabriel worked in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Although he was granted amnesty in 1886, Gabriel continued to live in the United States for another 2 years. In 1890, at the age of 53, Gabriel returned to his home in the Saskatchewan district. He spent his time hunting, fishing, and telling stories of the buffalo hunts and the battles that the Métis had fought. Gabriel Dumont died on May 19, 1906, and was buried in the graveyard at Batoche. Many people, Indian, Métis, and white, came to the funeral to witness the burial of a great man.